your host, John Hackleman, UFC coach, Hawaiian Kempo founder, and Kajukenbo black belt, and your co-host, Angelo Ferrer, Kajukenbo black belt. What's up, Zen? Thanks for joining us as always. Sorry we had a few technical issues, so we didn't get started at the same time as normal, but we are up and running. His size, his weight, his power. Oh, yeah. If you want to train, we're talking about how much should you train? Did you know that you can train online with a UFC coach? You're looking at him right here. You can train with him. He is available at thepit.tv. Limited slots open now. And I hear there's rumors of a Black Friday sale. So check it out at thepit.tv.
There is a black. Did you get that?
I did. I got it. I saw it. I didn't see all the details, but I saw it. I saw it. You got some deals, some Black
I didn't
Friday.
get it. I didn't know it went out, but it did. Okay.
It did. It's out there. Yeah. So happy early Thanksgiving, Zen, and everyone else who's joining us. So how much should someone be training? So if I train like what? Once a week? Can I train once a week for 10 minutes? Can I get better?
I think, first of all, it's different for everyone. Number one. Number two, a lot of it depends on your goal. Like if you want to be an MMA fighter, you should probably be training a little harder than if you're just training to look good at the beach. Now, here's the one that gets me. If you're an MMA fighter, should you be training harder or more than somebody that wants to keep their family safe from harm? I mean, I want to know why the MMA fighter trains so much more, so much harder, and with so much more intensity than someone that's just taking a class. But that person just taking a class is probably training to protect their life or their family's life if they ever get attacked. Shouldn't that be more important than the person that's wanting to win basically a sport? But it's not. And there's a couple things that I think we should be thinking about. Like one thing, if you waste any time on katas in your regular curriculum, then you got to realize when you put your time in something, you're taking it out of something else, right? Just like if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So if you're spending, I don't know, 20 minutes in a class on kata, that's an hour class, average class. That's a third of an average class. That means you're taking a third of the life-saving techniques that you could be teaching your students. So it's such a robbery of their time and energy. Unless they know that it's not going to help them ever in a street situation or a life and death situation, and they want to do kata because they like kata, but they have to know that it's taken away from anything effective they'll ever do. And the thing that bothers me is a lot of these instructors, they teach their students the kata, telling them that for some reason it's going to help them stay safe on the street. And they're not saying this is a bunch of prearranged fancy movements that you can maybe enter a contest with, a tournament, and win a tournament. They're actually saying, oh, no, this technique, oh, you got to go bunkai. Okay, bunkai says when you do this finger right here is actually blocking the punch, and then this hand right here is actually giving them a left hook. And you say, well, don't you just do that? No, this is ancient tradition, passed along for many years. This is the bunkai for that. So that part bothers me. Where did I go? Oh, somebody's calling. Shit.
We're getting on forms again. I was like,
Did anybody Did anybody comment?
let's let's rewind a little
No.
bit. So how
It's just
so we've established
because
that
okay,
you got to be careful how you compart. So far, if I understand you correctly, I'm done with the. Sorry, guys. I always go off on the internet to start sharing this on their pages. So let's reel this back. So we've established that you have to be careful what you compartmentalize your training into, right? And you're making a point that you shouldn't be, if you don't have that much time to train in the first place, you shouldn't be wasting too much time doing things that don't have direct application to fighting. You also, and we talked about that before, why does a UFC fighter train harder than someone who wants to protect their family? But
yeah,
now, kind of refining this, chipping this down to the essence of the question. I'm someone who wants to protect my family, but I work 9 to 5. How much should I be training? How much?
here it is.
How much minimally can I get away with? Because I'm so busy. I have 4 kids. They're all in different programs. I'm not me. I'm just saying example. Okay, I only have 1 kid. But
Right.
I'm a dad, 4 kids, full-time job. We're both working full-time, mortgage, 9 to 5, taking kids to soccer practice, baseball practice. Maybe I'm pushing it as it is, trying to come into a class once or twice a week. So I'm wondering, what do I need to do minimum in class? What do I need to do minimum at home to be able to protect my family?
Yeah, I think that that is, everybody's different and everybody's training's different and everybody's body's different. But I'm gonna go right out here on the limb, and I'm gonna say, without a doubt, if you want to be a true martial artist, you should spend a minimum of 5 hours a week. Okay, and that involves conditioning, anaerobic 3 times a week, aerobic twice a week, um, technical, learning and drilling and practicing should be filling in some other slots. There should be some stretching in there because that's going to help us not only fight better, but it's going to help us live longer and more healthier. So if you want to be a martial artist, okay, includes your aerobic workouts too, your walks, your whatever. And now if you have an equalizer that you work out with, that includes that as well. And that could be a knife, going to the range with a gun, practicing with your knife. I think you should be practicing martial arts, including but not only conditioning, equalizers, and your skills and drills. I think you should be training 5 hours a week.
Okay, so let's break this down some more. The anaerobic 3 times a week. How much time per session? And let's define anaerobic for those of you that don't know.
Okay, so anaerobic there's two types of metabolic pathways that your ATP and your oxygen go into these two different pathways, and one of them, when it's burning, is trying to burn energy and make you be able to work. If you're just working at a regular pace, like say you're chopping wood, then or doing something with a dinosaur that's not life or death, like you're cutting up a dinosaur, whatever the fuck they ate back in millions of years ago. I always use dinosaur, but anyway. So it's something that it gives you energy. You need that energy, aerobic energy, and you can do it for hours. I mean, you can run. There's people that can run, 12 hours straight. That's aerobic. That's aerobic. Now, then all of a sudden, that's the flight. Now, that's not actually the flight because the flight would be anaerobic, but that would be considered movement. Okay. Now that same dinosaur, saber-toothed tiger, or other tribe in the cavemen, now they attack you. You have to be able to access your anaerobic metabolism. That means you don't have oxygen. So it has to go on lactic acid. So you have with the oxygen, that's aerobic. That's like the guy running to collect something 3 hours away. So he's jogging. He needs that aerobic. And then he gets into a fight now, or he has to sprint away from a saber-toothed tiger. Now he needs his anaerobic workout. So that's what anaerobic is, sprints. And we can't sprint very long. So anytime you do sprints, whatever time you give it, you break it up into like 10 to 20-second blocks. If you're going any past 20 seconds, it's not really anaerobic. You can't really sprint that long. It starts becoming just a hard working aerobic. So it doesn't quite have the same benefits when you train all out, balls out, 20-second like Tabata sprints. That's when you're able to access your anaerobic pathway better, and you're more efficient with your oxygen and your oxygen dissociation curve and your all kind of other things that are kind of complicated that have to do with oxygen versus no oxygen. So anaerobic is sprints. So you can do like a 20-second sprint and then a 20-second jog. Something where you're burning all out. But when you're doing it, you have to be all out, like 95% of your maximum heart rate. And you could do a 12-minute, sprint, like you're doing, X amount on, X amount off, or it could be a 10-minute sprint or a 5-minute sprint. You decide what you're going to do. Plan out your workouts. The day I do it the day before, or for my students, I plan it the week before. So
let me just paraphrase real quick so anybody who's following this. So anaerobic can be, for example, not this is just examples that you can get an idea of what this is about. 3 times a week, a 10 to 20-second block of full out sprinting, anything that gets your metabolism. We're not going to go into the science behind it because we don't have that much time. You can look it up, anaerobic, what it is. But the idea is be out of breath, right? So you're full out, going all out in a sprint, for example, 10 to 20-second blocks for 5 to 12 minutes for one session. That's one of the times. We said 3 times a week earlier, right? So one sessions would be, for an example, would be 10 to 20-second full out sprints for 5 to 12 minutes, 3 times a week. That's your anaerobic.
That would be a basic one, yeah.
Basic one. And then for your aerobic, 2 times a week, what's that?
That would be like a jog on the beach, a little hike with the family. On Sunday, my second aerobic day, I hit the bag for 30 minutes. I just hit the bag. I don't go all out. I just different techniques, kick, punches, etc. I do that for 30 minutes. That's my aerobic workout and my skill workout. So I'm getting both at the same time.
That's good.
Some workouts, you're doing medicine ball throws with a burpee. Now you're just working, you're working your cardio, or you're working your cardio anaerobically, but it's just a workout. But now you could do your burpees and then do grappling in between, where you're on the ground trying to get out of bad positions. Now you just turn that anaerobic workout into a full-on fight, fight simulation, because you're exhausted from the burpees, and then all of a sudden now you're on the ground with somebody on top of you while you just got done doing X amount of burpees. You can barely breathe. So I combine the anaerobic workout with some fight-related techniques, put them together, and now I have a CrossFit exercise that stimulates a real fight and how exhausted you'll be. So
shameless plug. You can do that on thepit.tv. If you want to learn more about that, he'll talk you through it. You can literally work out, and he'll be there to let you know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong.
I'll show you all that. So that's the aerobic. So I got 2 days where I do aerobic. I'm going to give you, for me, for example. Okay. So my Wednesday is my Makiwara day. So I do some light cardio. I do some sledging. I do some weights, some dumbbell weights. I get my cardio up a little bit. that's cardio for me. That's aerobic. So I hit the bag. I hit the I do my exercises, hit the weights, and do a little bit of sledging. Sometimes I do a little bit of a light airdyne bike. Then I go on the Makiwara and I hit that for 10 minutes. So that's my Wednesday. Then I do some stretching, etc. So that's my Wednesday. It's about a 1 hour total workout, and that's what I do. That's my first aerobic workout. My first anaerobic workout is, it's bag work. I start with bag work, drills. I do shields back and forth with partners. I do some big lightweight stuff, just working the punches and stuff. And then I do some paddles with partners. And then so I'm just doing a lot of skill stuff, some grappling stuff, etc. Then then I do the workouts. So like I'll do like burpees and bag where I do as many burpees as you can in X amount of time, then jump on the bag, hit it as hard as you can, and just keep going back and forth. I'll usually do that for about 7 to 10 minutes, depending on the day. And then that's your anaerobic workout. You're exhausted. Then we might go outside and do some sledging and get some more power and strength. So that would be an average anaerobic workout for me to do. And then another one might be just do all the bag work and do some skill work, do some drilling or sparring. And then I go on the airdyne bike and I just go balls out I go for like 15 seconds on, 45 seconds off. And I do that like 8 times it's one of the hardest workouts you can do. You think 15 on and 45 off. Well, you get so much rest. By like the fifth time, the 45 seconds feels like 10 seconds. It's just so that's my second anaerobic workout. And then Sunday or Saturday, I do a lot. I do a lot of weight stuff. Then I do the wheelbarrow, and trying to push the wheelbarrow over different it's uphill, different distances with different weight loads in it, etc. Trying to make it. I mean, if you're doing a anaerobic, if you do if you do a Tabata workout, 20 seconds you're going as fast as you can, and then 10 seconds you rest, 20 seconds you're trying to do the whole thing in 8 rounds. That's only 4 minutes, but that's the longest 4 minutes of your life. So that's my second anaerobic workout. Then the second aerobic, like I said before, is just bag work. So that's an example of mine. But you should. So I think if you want to be a true martial artist, whether it's the street or eventually get into MMA fighting, you should be training at least 5 hours a week.
And then how much time, because we so far we covered anaerobic, aerobic, and you're kind of mentioning it right now in your training. How much time should be spent doing skill training, actual martial art training?
Well, I think there's the learning that you're doing, and then there's the drilling of the technique, and then now you're giving volume with that technique where you're just doing over and over and over, and you do that, that's cycled by different techniques, and then you might drill with somebody, you might hit the shields. So it depends. Some days are cardio heavy. Like I'll do stations where they do anaerobic, something, and then they go hit the bag over here. Then the next one's get on the airdyne and do this. So their anaerobic workout might be spread out in 30 minutes, right? Then I might do 15 minutes of skill, and then I might do 15 minutes of stretching or whatever. And then sometimes it's the opposite. Some days I'll do heavy on the skill and just do a 9-minute burst of anaerobic. So every day is different.
9 minutes. Okay. So if I got this right, and that should be done at least, that kind of skill training should be done once or twice a week? Twice a week.
No, I think you should throw the skill in every workout.
But how many times? Oh, every workout. So the
that's 5.
We talked about training 5 times a week with the aerobic.
5 times a week.
In between that stuff, you should be doing times 5 15 to 50 minutes of skill training.
Yes. And then you should be doing the opposite of your cardio strength, CrossFit, whatever you want to call it. You should be doing that. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to get in shape, and you're going to be a waste, of everything, because you can't even throw one combination without being exhausted. So you have to do the conditioning. Somebody jumps you in the street. If you're not doing hardcore anaerobic fight related, fight simulating type workouts, the first time you get jumped in the street, you'll run out of gas in 20 seconds. You'll lose no matter what.
And Zen's asking a question. Zen, no, it's not 5 hours a day. Okay, not 5 hours a day. We're talking 5 times in your week. Okay, so we're actually realistically talking about 1 hour, 5 days.
Let me tell you, put this into perspective. I say you should train at least 5 hours a week, right? Some people say, "Whoa, that's so much training." The average American male spends almost 5 hours a day on watching TV. So let me just, the average American female spends 7 hours a week putting on makeup. So when I'm asking for 5 hours a week, you put it into perspective what people do with their time now. It's not really that much. You know what I mean? It's really not. And like some guys, let me just think, like with the kata thing, if people like to argue with me about that and say, well, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson said kata is good, so did Lyoto Machida. Okay, well, they grew up in a martial arts school. Their parents, both of their fathers were their senseis. So instead of 5 hours a week, they probably spent about 8 to 10 hours a day in the dojo. So they had plenty of time to perfect katas. But the average person that wants to go and learn how to do real martial arts, they have maybe an hour a day, 5 times a week. They don't have any fucking extra time to learn kata or practice kata, because all of their time should be learning how to be a better fighter and being in condition so that they can survive a fight. Bing.
Okay. All right. So there we go.
Any questions?
Mr. Awak wants to know if Alex Pereira is training in the Hawaiian Kempo system with Glover, or is he just training with Glover as an MMA fighter?
There's so many things that they interact with each other, so I'd say a little of both, because Glover
He's a brown belt though. He's a brown belt in the Hawaiian Kempo system, right?
is the I don't know if Glover can.
Oh, okay.
I think he might be. I don't know, but so he's both, but I think he's like Glover is probably about 50-50 now. Glover used to be fight training heavy, not as much Hawaiian Kempo, and now he's probably even, about even. I would figure that right now Alex is probably about 95% fight training with a little bit of Hawaiian Kempo, and that'll probably switch a little bit when he retires and starts teaching.
So again, we're wrapping things up. To answer your question about the training, we wrapped it up to 5 times a week, 15
5 hours.
5 hours a week. And then again, if you're the kind of person who's busy, you come into class twice and you can supplement those 3 other days on your own time, right? On your own time, you can bring in some of that anaerobic, aerobic stuff that we talked about on those 3 other times with a little bit of skill training on your own. That goes a long way. A lot of people always say, like, okay, fine, you can't make it to the gym or the dojo or wherever you train at, whatever style it is you're doing. You can only get in twice a week. Okay, then you can only get in twice a week. But you have plenty of time at home. Like we just talked about the excess time that you have maybe watching TV or whatever. So you can put a block of time. That doesn't take that much time. If you really look at what we just talked about, 10 to 20 second blocks of 5 to 12 minutes is your anaerobic. You do that 3 times a week. If you can't get that in at wherever you're training, let's say the place you're training is all skill focused, like you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's all skill focused. You're not getting that much anaerobic. You can still get this stuff on your own, right? You can still practice If you're doing karate, whatever it is you're doing, you can still practice shadow boxing. You can still practice stuff, skill training, and do this on your own, plus whatever style you're focusing in.
If you were cut for, you're having a hard time of time, and everybody goes through cycles in their life. I mean, I used to work, double shifts as a registered nurse, working the night shift, and I just try to be at the gym at like 12 o'clock noon, where I got off work at 7 a.m. And I had to then I had to sleep for a couple hours and then go to the gym. So I've had like 2 hours sleep. So I had to go back, take a nap. Then I had to go do my road work. And I know there's a lot of things where life gets in the way. And if there's a time where you're just so busy, you can do a full workout without a doubt, a full workout in 10 minutes. And you could do that. You could so 50 minutes for that week. You just do that 10 minutes 5 times a week. You can get a full workout, full cardio workout in 10 minutes, do 5 of them a week. But what I'm thinking, for what I want you to settle in as a true martial artist, so you don't become a partial artist, is I think the average martial artist, say you don't have to do all these crazy things and you're not that busy, like fucking, you can 5 hours a week, I think, is optimal for becoming a much better martial artist.
Well, every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Share this channel with your friends. If you want to train with John at thepit.tv, there's still slots available. Mr. Alwak, thank you very much. John, Mr. Alwak says you have the best business card if you want 2 UFC champs. One put the sport on the map, and the other was the oldest to ever win a title. Congratulations, sir. All right.